Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our first ever PAN Facebook Live Q&A. My name is John Morenzel, and I'm one of 3 instructors at PAN. Today, I'm actually joined by the other 2. We have Catherine Sanko and Brian Crocker. So today is an opportunity to pop in and ask any questions you may have about anything going on in the notary world or just about the notary world. We're going to try to get to as many questions as we can as possible. If we don't have time to get to your question, feel free to always email us. Our email address is instructors@notary.org. So we plan on answering questions for about 20 to 30 minutes. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and send over your questions now in the chat box.
So this is
Mike Yost says first comment. Hi there, Mike.
Yeah. This isn't like the other software we use where we can tell how many people are in the room. This is kind of a mystery to us.
First comment. Let's see if anybody. We have 24 people that are in the room right now. So
excellent.
If you have any questions, please send them over. This is just a live forum that we can answer any questions you may have.
Or we can just talk.
I got my stand hat on. This is the first time we're doing something like this. We get a great response from our webinars, and a lot of people love the live Q&A that we do at the end of the presentations. So we figured this is something we can do while we have some downtime during the holidays to see if any questions do roll through. So please ask them if you have them. Or you can just send over a hi. Let us know where you're from.
Got a hi from Becky and Butler.
I see. Let's see here. Yeah, we got a hi from Becky and Butler.
There's a question from Mike there for you, John.
All right. So Mike asked the first question. He said, "Was it an acceptable ID to use? My wife wants to know." So if you are notarizing in Pennsylvania, there are certain forms of ID you can accept. You could always accept personal knowledge. That is something that you need to know without a doubt. Acceptable ID needs to be government issued ID that is current, and it needs a signature or a photograph. And on top of that, it needs to be satisfactory to you, the notary. And the last form of ID you could accept is a way of something called a credible witness. But great question by Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Starting us off. With the RON platforms, I'm using Doc Verify. Have you at PAN tried any of the other platforms? Well, we've not trying any of the platforms because we're not RON notified. We are getting some demos coming in. We had one the other day, but it was not the Doc Verify. But they all work in a similar manner where you identify the through KBA or facial identity, and then your document is uploaded and electronically stamped.
Stephanie says, if the name inside the notarial wording states, for example, Mary Jones, formerly known as Mary Smith, can I notarize that without seeing some sort of proof that she was formerly known as Mary Smith? That's a tough one, Stephanie. I always tell people you can't identify people by their former name. You can only identify them as who they are now. And I always say to have them sign the name that they're using currently. That's a tough one. I personally would not want to notarize if the body of, say, an acknowledgement had somebody's former name in it.
No.
Would you agree?
Yeah. I agree.
I agree. I mean, you need to know without a doubt the person in front of you is the person that's going to be signing that document. And you need, I mean, that would draw some red flags to me whenever they don't match. That's something you would, I wouldn't.
But it's not uncommon that is done.
Oh, yeah, it comes up a lot. All right, so let's see here. Next question, Angie asked, my renewal is up on September of 2021. When should I start the renewal process? So usually a good time to start the renewal process is around 6 months prior to your current expiration date. You want to start taking your notary education. That could be live. That could be online. It just needs to be state approved. But usually around the 6-month mark is a good time to start that renewal process, Angie.
My renewals come up in May of 21. With COVID-19, how is the state required training working? Well, right now we are paused on the live training because of the COVID-19. We are offering our online courses, and you can call customer service reps to sign up for those. And they are still being offered, and they qualify for the state approved training.
And we're honestly playing it by ear when it comes to traveling again. Our seminars are currently canceled this month and next month. February, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
I was on the webinar on Friday and had asked a question, but of course my sound went off when you answered, so I apologize for making you repeat. My question is, what kinds of questions should we ask the customer if there is any question about their frame of mind? Open-ended questions, Eileen, to see if they know the answer, to see if they understand what's going on around them. You can ask them who the president is, what day of the week it is, what the date is. I mean, you're looking for oddball answers that don't make any sense at all. You can just make casual conversation, and honestly, if they really aren't with it, you're going to know pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Try to avoid yes and no questions. Those are the
Yes.
easy ones. Try to make them explain some stuff to you. Julie asked, does anyone know if PennDOT is at full service or are they working from home? They are actually working. Brian, by chance, do you have that up? I don't have up the.
I can get it right away. Hang tight.
Yeah, so Brian has a more detailed answer exactly what's going on with PennDOT. He actually provided it to us a couple days ago, so I know he'd have it handy. But yeah, they are they are working. So let's just get you more information on that here very shortly.
Yeah, I gotta find it. It's on our website, and is PennDOT open is the question. The Riverfront Office Center is open for motor vehicle services only. Paperwork will be processed and mailed. The driver's license center that's at the Riverfront Office Center is closed, but there is one that's nearby that's open. The dealer counter remains temporarily closed, but there is a drop-off at the Riverfront Office Center counter entrance for dealer paperwork. The dealer counter is being used to serve the public. There is limited messenger counter service. And there have been some additions to this, little details, but don't really matter to the greater good. But I'm going to read you what I have from the website. Messengers should enter through the employee entrance, which I believe if you're facing the building is on the left-hand side. Messengers are limited to the 4th floor messenger room only. There is a limit of 6 messengers in the messenger room at one time. Messengers arriving at the Riverfront Office Center need to call numbers that are posted in the lobby, and I believe there are 3 separate employees that you might be talking to. You'll be pre-screened to see if you've been exposed to COVID-19. You're going to be required to wear a mask. You're going to need to sort your paperwork before you come. Cubicles are not available for use, but they said they are going to have 1 6-foot table. And you're limited to dropping off and picking up paperwork promptly. So that's what we have as of now. But yes, they are processing motor vehicle transactions only.
Thanks, Brian.
You bet.
I'll take this one. My first question is, do you know what the paperwork is if they say yes, I ask them to summarize what they are? That's a good thing to do with elderly people and paperwork. Can you summarize how this is going to affect you? Can you explain the document to me? Are also good questions to ask. Thanks.
During the pandemic, how close do witnesses need to be? Are they able to simply witness the oaths and then back off a bit while the primaries sign? then come back to do their own signing, or do they need to also watch the physical signing? This is concerning because of the recommended 6-foot distancing. If you're doing in-person notarizations, then obviously a witness is somebody who watches somebody sign. They need to stay in the room. You want to take all precautions possible, like wearing masks, everybody using their own pen, being close enough to hear the entire event going back, the conversation between the notary and the customer, and then the actual witnessing of the signing.
Next question, are all recorded? I don't know if I was pertaining to another question that you might have asked, or if you're just asking about these in general. This is our first Facebook Live, so this is going to be recorded. You can watch this in full length whenever we finish up on the Facebook page. It'll stay on there. Also, the YouTube page, it will be uploaded on there. If you are talking about something else, please clarify that in the chat box. Oh, and they did. Thank you. Are all recorder of deeds required to accept all RON completed documents? They are not. They are not required to accept. So if that's something that you're interested in, I would double check with them to see if they accept it. They will accept a certified copy of the transaction if you do it that way, but no, they're not required to accept RON completed documents.
Not required to accept any document if they don't want to.
Very true.
Are all Pennsylvania courthouses accepting RON notarized documents? Again, no. The recorder of deeds is not accepting. Some are, some are not. And it's best to check with the recorder of deeds to see if they accept it.
But again, the way the law is written, it allows you to certify that a paper copy of an electronic transaction is a true copy, and they should be able to accept that as an original. Now, I saw a question pop up, and then it went away. There it is. Do you know if all courses, does she mean courthouses? I'm not sure. Why don't you rephrase your question, and we'll get back to that. I'm being joined by my kitten here. What should you tell customers when they call you after they get pulled over for their bad license plate, paint peeling off? There are a lot of license plates in my area that the paint is literally falling off. They have the ability to request a new license plate when their license plate is unreadable. They can do it a number of ways. Off the top of my head, I believe they can go to the police station, and the police officer can fill out a form and give it back to the customer, who can send it to PennDOT for a replacement plate. There was another way to do it. John, do you have that?
No, off the top of my head, I'm kind of with you. I know if MV44 can be done.
Yes.
And if it's defaced, like the plate, if it's unreadable, defaced, it could be done and sent in, and it wouldn't be completed by a police officer. So you kind of tie those answers together, and that's right. What's going to need to be done.
I could have sworn there was another entity that could do the, look at your license plate and say, yes, indeed, that's unreadable.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, I'm not 100% certain, but if you want a more detailed answer, you're always free to email us at instructors@notary.org. We could always do a little bit more research if you need something in writing. We have our email address at the bottom of the ticker down below, just in case if you need to write that down. So we are caught up on questions right now. So please, if you have them, go ahead and send them over. We got probably about another 15 minutes. We're going to go with the Q&A. I know more people are joining as we are live here. So please don't hesitate to send over your questions. There it is. Inspection mechanic. Yep. That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you, Kevin, for that. That was more likely the other way that we were probably thinking.
And there's some standard. It has to be readable from 50 feet. I believe the standard is.
There we go.
Thank you for those answers.
Yes. Yes, and we're seeing answers on the comments that you probably can also see, although it's not popping up on the screen. We're not actually on Facebook. We're in another software that links to Facebook, so our view is different.
I'm curious on how many people are in the room right now. Last I saw I think it was around 30 some, so I'm guessing we're probably up above that.
I bet you Angel will tell us privately if we ask.
32.
With an exclamation point.
Awesome.
I was hoping that was a 1. We've been live for 16 minutes, folks. We're happy to stay around up until about the 30-minute mark if you still have questions. This is really an experiment for us. We don't know if we're going to do these ongoing, but I think it's something that could be helpful to the membership.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so anything in general that you have questions for, please ask. That's what we're here for. If we don't know the answer, we'll get you into the right direction on where you need to get that answer.
And as the scroll at the bottom of the screen says, we are excited to answer your questions. Ask anything.
Are you ready for the holidays?
I think we have another question
Another
popping
question
in here,
coming?
it looks like. Yep. Who's
Right.
up? John?
I think it's me. So Heidi asks, what do you do if you do title work for a customer and I use a messenger service to take my paperwork to Harrisburg? So it was rejected to me and I cannot get a hold of the customer. I've tried to call and nothing. Just make sure you're keeping very detailed notes on how you tried to contact them. There's not much more you can do, Heidi, in that situation, but keep records of how much you tried to contact them. Really anything you can do. There's not much more.
Does PAN offer advanced evening classes? I don't think it should be considered. I was looking for the advanced class. I could find nothing through the website. Are you talking the advanced motor vehicle class? We do offer that. All of our live classes have been put on hold, though. I believe there is one in February. I'm not sure.
Advanced motor vehicle.
Advanced motor vehicle classes, and we there was one in January, a basic, and February. There possibly is in March.
And although
there's one in March in Altoona.
And although the online class is labeled as a basic course, it does also meet the requirement for those who need the advanced education. So
yes, PAN does offer that. It will be in March and in Butler or Altoona.
Any suggestions on how to persuade lenders, title companies, settlement companies to allow RONs to complete their docs online? It seems no one is ready for RON yet. Also, there is a RON directory. Is there a RON directory we can add our info to that you know of? Wow, questions I cannot answer, unfortunately. As far as persuading companies to allow RON, the companies are supposedly the ones that are clamoring for this type of technology. So I would think that they would be looking for you, not looking for you to persuade them. As far as I know, there is no way to put yourself on a list somewhere where you show up as a RON notary.
All right. So Danielle asked, what is the ACT number for my journal for titles? So if you're referring to car titles, which I assume you are, all Pennsylvania car titles they were known as a affidavit. We call them now a verification on oath or affirmation, which is known as a number 2. So that's what you're going to list in the journal. If you're using one of PAN's notary journals, it will be a number 2.
Notarization.com is listed as an approved vendor for Pennsylvania's RON, but they're not even offering services in Pennsylvania. Any information on that? I don't have any more information on the notarized.com. I'm not sure why it would be an approved vendor if it's not offering services in Pennsylvania. That's usually the RON technology is nationwide, so I'm not sure what's happening with that. Most I can do is recommend you contact them.
Figures is my question. I was reading it up in advance there on the side column. Oh my Lord. Children drivers on parents' insurance policies and parent named insured is not present for a title transfer. My usual answer is that the parent needs to be there and go on the title as a co-owner. Other notaries are processing the title transfer for the child using parent's card. The only time I have done this, if the child's VIN is listed on the declaration page of the policy, and I confirm that the insurance company allows the vehicle to be titled in the child's name only. Such a gray area that I run into. Okay, that's the end of the question. I was making sure that there wasn't more in the side column. Honestly, there are a number of things to be concerned about. I've been told by the owner of our company that unless the child is a named insured on the policy, they should not be using the parent's policy for proof of insurance when they're registering the vehicle. That's number one. Number two, just from a business standpoint, and this does not really affect you necessarily, but people shouldn't be selling vehicles to people under the age of 18 because they can decide later on they don't want to go through with the deal and get their money back. So, but that again, that doesn't affect you, the notary, but that's another thing to be mindful of. Do you think I hit all the questions there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything to
And
add?
if you want a more detailed or if you have additional questions on that topic, please, again, email us, Kevin. That is something that we can get more in writing for you. And there is our email address at the bottom of that ticker there, instructors@notary.org. We did answer all the questions up to this point. I'd say we got probably about another 7 minutes that we're going to stay live here. So if you got them, ask them. That's what we're here for. This will be a replay available on the website, on Facebook, so you can watch it back anytime. And I'll also be on the YouTube page. Can PAN offer help on auditing a notary journal? So we can't help you audit a notary journal, but what we could tell you is what's required in that notary journal. Everything that's required in a notary journal, you need to follow under the Notary Law RELONA, which stands for the Revised Uniform Law on Notarial Acts. What we sell at our company, we have our PAN notarial journals, and we call them RELONA compliant. We design them to meet all the standards for the Pennsylvania notary law. So if you have one of ours, you're set. There are other companies out there that make notary journals, and they try to make them for all 50 states because they service all the other states. So there's a chance if you buy one from another company, it might not be RELONA compliant. So when in doubt, I would check the notary law, and in there, it's going to tell you exactly what's required.
And Elaine asked, when will we start putting out the email newsletters again? And what about PAN trivia? PAN trivia is a great idea. And newsletters, I think right now we're doing everything electronically on the blog and updating things because things are happening and changing so quickly that by the time the newsletter gets printed out, the information is already old. So if you check our blog and our webpage, then that's got the most current information on it rather than the newsletter.
And I think we did have we are having a contest this week. I wasn't listening. Did you mention that?
I did not. We are having a contest.
Giving away a $50, I think it's
Amazon
an Amazon gift card.
And check it out on the Facebook page.
That's on the Facebook page as well.
Yes.
Let's see. Rose, I did a title with a lien on it, and the paperwork is correct. The state did not put the lien on, and they sent the title to the customer with a $26 credit. The bank wants the title. What do I do now? Who pays for that? Yeah, I bet the bank wants the title. Again, if there's already a lien on a vehicle and it shows on, I'm assuming, an out-of-state title, as long as when you fill out the MV1 or process it online, you are listing the lien and including the $26 lien fee, PennDOT should be putting the lien back on the Pennsylvania title and then sending that paper title to that probably out-of-state lien holder. What do you do now? My recommendation would be to collect all of the paperwork that you have, the rejection, or rather the return that came to the customer. I don't know, did the customer cash the check? What happened? But I would send it back and let them know they made a mistake. They need to redo it and make sure they have that $26 back. As far as the title fee, they shouldn't be charging another title fee because that was a PennDOT mistake.
Awesome. Kevin says, Ohio memorandum titles. I do a lot of titles from Ohio. I've been told PennDOT doesn't accept them, but I've heard that they slipped through the CVR channel on the online service provider. Yeah, Kevin, the Ohio memorandum titles, or just memorandum titles in general, shouldn't be transferred. It's not a way to transfer ownership of a car. If it's slipping through the CVR channel, I mean, it is a good possibility. Things have slipped through that program when people are using that shouldn't be done. The people that are doing things paper-wise, you get more closely looked at when your paperwork's sent in. When it's done through CVR, it kind of just goes through. If it's went through. Should you be doing those memorandum titles for transfer and ownership? I'd say no. Even though I know CVR might let some people, you shouldn't be doing them.
What is Tricia asked, what's the law regarding swearing in witnesses on Zoom for court reporters? Witnesses have to be in the state of PA, or does it matter where they are? There was a waiver that came out for the court reporters, and you should be following the directions on that waiver. They are allowed to use some of the technology that is not approved, correct? Is that like a Zoom for court reporters, but I don't know where the witnesses have to be for the court reporters. I'm not sure of the location of them.
I don't know if it mentioned in that waiver or not.
It was not mentioned in the waiver, the location of the witness.
It does mention the type of case that it has to be. It's civil, criminal, and I can't remember the last one. But I don't believe the waiver actually said anything about the location of the witness. It has to be for a case involving Pennsylvania. It's a very brief. It's a very brief.
3/4 of a page waiver.
Came out on March 21st. Do us a favor, Trish, send us an email. And we're gonna email you a link to that.
Because I have the waiver here, but I'm not going to be able to share it. So yeah, if you email us, we'll be able to get it to you.
Tricia wants to know why, from a business standpoint, it's unwise to sell a vehicle to someone that's under the age of 18. They can break the contract at any time, basically, and ask for their money back. So that's something I got from talking to the folks that work for the dealership associations in Pennsylvania, the PAA and the PIADA. Just casually talking to those people, I've gotten information from them like that.
Awesome. So at this point, I was going to say, we anticipated this to go about 20 to 30 minutes. We're at the 30-minute mark now, so we're going to wrap things up here. So for everybody that's in here, if you have more questions, please email us at instructors@notary.org. We'll be glad to answer more questions there. Other than that, we're going to get ready to sign off here. I I know we're going to play a little video at the end here to give you more information. But yeah, the email is at the bottom of the screen. Thanks for attending. This is new to us and something we're testing out. I think it was overall it went pretty well. And so look forward to more of these in the future.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Thank you for tuning in and asking so many great questions. For more updates from PAN, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you have suggestions for topics you'd like our instructors to cover in the future, let us know in the comments. See you next time.